think I'm recording. Yep, okay. All right, so I don't have in the agenda to do official introductions, but we can definitely do that. There's only 9 of us today. I've muted everybody upon entry, but if you want to introduce yourself, then you're more than welcome to unmute and introduce yourself, but definitely don't feel obligated to do that. So I'll give a brief moment of pause if anybody wants to introduce themselves.
Okay. Hi, I'm Marvin Patton. I'm at Merced College.
Hi, Marvin.
Hi, I am Edilma Cavazos, working as adjunct faculty at LA Mission College in Silmar, California. Nice to meet you, everyone.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lindell Garner, and I'm faculty at Las Positas College, full-time faculty, and I'm also on the OER task force.
Oh, great.
But does not mean that I know everything, trust me.
Hi, my name's Jessica Young. I'm joining you from Maryland, Frederick, Maryland specifically, from the listserv. But I've done a lot of work on human growth and development and child development in OER and have developed courses. So I'm excited to hear what you're doing.
Okay, great. Well, and I hope that part of today is if you're willing to share what you have, then that would be wonderful. But we can get there, and if you want to pull it up, I'll give screen share capabilities to anybody.
Okay.
Let's see. So Jessica said oh no, Jessica, you just unmuted. And Amanda Hill is here. And Amanda, I can't remember where you're from. I know it's a California community college, but I don't want to misspeak. But she's got some little ones. Palomar and Mira Costa, Amanda's from, and Shoshana is at Pierce and Valley Colleges. All right, so welcome everybody. And we'll go ahead and get started. So the first thing that I wanted to go over, can everybody see my screen okay? Okay, perfect. All right. So I just wanted to remind everybody about the OER and ZTC Summit that's going to be at Reedley College on June 6th. Even if you plan to attend virtually, go ahead and use the link, and then probably Friday or next Monday, I'm going to send the information to attend virtually to everybody, and that's how I'm going to disaggregate everyone out. I didn't start with 2 links, so I thought now it'll just be confusing, so I'm driving everybody towards that one link, and then when we sign up for the breakout rooms, depending on which course you want to work on during the virtual part of the summit, then we'll sign up at that time. If you don't know where Reedley College is, most people know where Fresno is, and I apologize, Jessica, now I can't remember who's from out of state, but I am talking a California geography right now, but we're in the middle of the Central Valley of California. We're about 25 miles southeast of Fresno. It's a beautiful drive. If you do want to drive down here, I promise you will be fed well, and we will have the air conditioning going. It'll probably be triple digits here. That's what we endure during the Central Valley. But if you do want to attend virtually, then that's definitely an option as well. Use the Eventbrite link that you can see in the middle of the screen there, and I'll be sending out follow information either Friday or Monday about attending virtually. Is there any questions at all about the summit? No? Okay. All right. So in our last session, we had a couple of questions about going over what Creative Commons licensing is. I know we have a couple of veterans on here, so I don't want to reinvent, or not reinvent, but go over materials that everybody's familiar with. Would briefly going over Creative Commons licensing be beneficial for everybody, or is everybody that's on the call already familiar with it? I have not used the polling feature in Zoom yet, so I did put it up there. I think if you go into participants, then you should be able to poll and say yes or no. If you want to, we can experiment. If you would like me to go over briefly the Creative Commons licensing criteria, then just put a yes, and if not, then put no. I realize it's putting everybody on the spot because not many people are going to say no, don't do it. Oh, somebody did say good. I can't see who it is, by the way. All I can see is the results of the poll. Okay. Well, I have 2 yeses and 1 no, so whoever is no, sorry, you get overridden. I will be fast and you can completely tune out while I go over it. But I just want to go over it again briefly so that it's fresh in everybody's mind as we take a look at some of the content. So of course, if something is truly open, then we have those 5 R permissions. Oh, and by the way, I am by no means an expert, so if somebody knows more than me and I misspeak, please, please, please correct me, because I definitely don't want to give false information. So the 5R permissions of OER are the ability to retain, and that's the ability to make your own copies. And we're going to take a look at the variety in these. So I do realize that this is just completely open materials when I'm applying these 5 Rs. But the opportunity to retain, which is make and own the copies yourself, the opportunity to reuse, so you can mix and match and give it out to others. And again, that's the revise, so adapt, modify, and improve. This is probably one of my favorite features of OER because I feel as people in the academic field, it's so amazing to have the opportunity to work on materials, improve it, and to give it out for free. Because I know when I was stuck with traditional textbooks, there were so many things that I thought, oh, if I could just rewrite this paragraph, it would be so much better. So that's one of the things that I really, really love about open. The ability to remix and pull from different open education resources to create that perfect course. And I'm going to share with you the course that I've created for child growth and development, and it definitely takes advantage of this opportunity to remix, pulling from multiple different OER sites, and then redistribute. And that's what the crux of this group I'm hoping to be about, is to be able to redistribute some of the material that we've created. And so this is the graph that most of you have probably already seen. So we have things where it's fully copyrighted and all rights are reserved. We have Creative Commons, and we're going to look at some of the rights that are reserved within Creative Commons, and then public domain, which has no rights reserved. We see this from the most open and the most free to the least free, and we're going to take a look at what these little attribute signs mean really quickly. So CC BY is the most open that you can get, and you're giving the appropriate credit for who created it. If you change it, then when you create the new license, make sure that you indicate where the original source came from. And this is one thing that's been confusing for a lot in the field, myself included, is, okay, so how do we give appropriate attribution? I really like the, I think it's Washington that created the attribution builder. Really, really like that because I've used it in multiple places in my courses as well. So I'll make sure and find that link and share it out so everybody can see it. CC non-commercial means that you can't make money off of the product. So you can't take an OER resource and then go and sell it. So when it has the NC content or the NC designation, then it can't be sold. Yes, yeah, Lindell, I can definitely send it out.
Thank you.
And share. It's on Google Slides. Let's see, and I've got some additional ones. Are you part of the CCC OER listserv? Because there's some excellent PowerPoints that have been shared on there as well, and that's where I've cobbled together most of the ones that I have.
Okay.
So CCSA is share alike, meaning that if you remix and transform or build upon the material, you must distribute those as the same license as the original. So if the original had a CC BY license, which is up here, then that means whatever you create, or CCSA, whatever you create has to have the same licensing. So you can't go and say, I've taken something for free, but now I'm going to make it where it's a more restrictive license. So it has to have the same license on it that the original content had. And CC non-derivatives means that you can use it and you can remix it for your own use, but you can't redistribute the modified material. So you can see as we go through these Creative Commons licensing that it becomes more restrictive. So we really encourage, when at all possible, to use this CC BY licensing. And for those of you that are grantees from the Chancellor's Office, this is what all the content that's created using grant funds has to be under, is a CC BY license. Let's see, and so that's the basics of those Creative Commons licensing. Is there any questions that I can try and answer?
Yeah, Amanda, one thing I've been curious about, I'm pretty new to the concept of OER. Suppose you do a product, like you just mentioned the criterion that through the chancellor's office, if you have that grant, you have to publish your stuff CC by.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What prevents someone else from coming along and taking your stuff and then using it commercially? Because what I understand about CC BY is they can use it any way they want.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, if you put together a textbook, for example, CC BY, what stops anybody other than morality and ethics, you know, from taking that and selling it for a profit?
And that's all that it is morality and ethics. And that's actually what we see publishers doing right now, is taking content that's released with the CC BY licensing. And because it's completely free and open, they can do that. And they are layering on top of it publisher resources. So it's unfortunate.
Wow.
And the whole community is saying, you know, shame on you. However, that's what the licensing. And so what we're asking publishers to do is, you know, that is the nature of the license, is anybody can use it. However, give back to the open community. So we understand you need to survive, you need to make money, but how are you going to give back to the community?
Okay.
And so we're hoping that with enough pressure that will come full circle. And that is one of the criticisms that I've heard about the grant, is there's restrictive CC BY, everything has to be CC BY, and that is giving the opportunity for other people to make money off of it, unfortunately. The hope is that those that are trying to make money off of it, that it can be well known that, you know, please don't buy this when you can get it for free over here. But no, you hit the nail on the head as far as that is definitely one of the unfortunate consequences we've seen with the CC BY licensing.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So Dima, yes, the content can be used for online courses if they are Creative Commons licensed. Then with that CC BY, that it doesn't matter if it's online or what the modality is that the content is being offered. And that's one of the restrictions that we've seen with traditionally published products, is that we can't use it online because that can be widely distributed. But with a CC BY licensing, then that's, yeah, definitely. And it's the most common way that we see OER materials being distributed is on an online format, because it's an easy way to get access to the content for free. Did that answer your question? You're welcome. All right, so I put the link up here for the Google group that we're going to go into. If you want to navigate there, you can. I'm going to try and get there. For some reason, when I switch back and forth between sharing, my brain doesn't catch up as fast. So I'm hoping that we can do that. All right. Let's stop share. All right. All right, can you see the Google group now, okay? Yep, okay. I just wait for one nodding head. Yes, all right. So this is the Google group, and if you had a chance to look at our last conversation, then we've referred to this Google group, just the one that Jennifer had created. And again, we're still looking for easier ways to share materials, but this is what we've landed on right now. So we're always welcome for suggestions of an easier way to share materials. The purpose of the Google group is just what you see. Each of these is a course. Some of these are the CAP-aligned course. So for those of you that are in California, those CAP-aligned courses are the basic curriculum class, child growth, those of you outside of California. The child growth and development, the basic curriculum class, the principles and practices class, observation and self-assessment, health, safety, and nutrition. Somebody help me, what are the other three? Family, child, family, community. What are the other two?
Is not diversity. Is that
Diversity, yes, you're right. Diversity is the other one. What's the eighth one?
health and safety, did you say?
I think I said health and safety. Did I say practicum?
No, practicum.
Practicum, thank you. And so those are all embedded in here, but what we've tried to do is add multiple other courses as well. I know for us, we have 32 different child development courses, infant toddler. Infant toddler is part of the CAP expansion. It's not part of the original CAP 8, despite how much, you know, I really wanted it in the original CAP because that's my area. But infant toddler is on there, so that's on the CAP expansion. We've tried to include every possible child development course that we could think of, and definitely we have people still adding as new courses are being added with the movement for TK and the different ways to support that entity as well. So we are definitely want to expand this. The purpose is to, as we come across materials, and again, we're not limiting it currently to just OER materials, but any ZTC, so zero textbook cost materials as well. And those are materials that are free to students but aren't openly licensed. And so those can be put in there, but we just need to make sure that we're clear the difference between those two items. So the first one that I wanted to look at today is this child growth and development. So I just clicked on the title. And if you look in here, so for our first summit, what we've done is we've created Google Groups that we're using to add content specifically to the CAP aligned curriculum outline of record. So Jennifer Paris, who's over at College of the Canyon, has uploaded the outline of record right here. So those of you outside of California that might not be familiar with the CAP approved outline of record, then you can see it right here. And so you can see other documents that has been added right down here. So right here, this resources compiled to the outline. If I click on that, then it's going to take me over to a Google group. But you can see in my tabs up here that I've got the original Google group right here. I'm sorry, I'll take you to a Google Doc. Please slow me down if I'm going too fast. I'm trying to walk people through the process so that way they can access it anytime on their own. So let me know if any of those steps are unclear or the process that I went through is unclear. Okay, all right. So this was the original people that had contributed to it during our original summit. Now, if you start scrolling down, we have the student learning outcomes and then the CAP objectives. But then we also can see all of the curriculum outline of record. And what we've started to do is add the content that would appropriately address this part of the core, the curriculum outline of record. What College of the Canyons, they've got an amazing team there that really are experts in licensing. So they're trying to go through each of these documents and indicate which has what licensed are indicate on each. So that as we use these, then we can make sure that we know what the licensing are. Shoshana, yes, so this is what they're currently doing right now is trying to vet the licensing. Okay, perfect. I wasn't quick enough to look at the chat. This is the first one that they've started on, and you can see that not all of it is done yet. It is an arduous task, so we're definitely giving them that they're doing a lot of this work. But just keep in mind what you see, and just because it doesn't say CC by or CC, whatever the other indication is, it doesn't mean that it's not copyright protected. So some of these you have to go and contact them. So are there any questions so far? Nope. Good. All right. So I'm going to share with you what I've done for this course, and I'm teaching this course. Actually, I have 3 sections this summer. It's a course that I teach every summer, and I developed this based on a lot of the materials that are over here that you can find in here in a Canvas module. So my task this summer is to take all of the content that I've developed within Canvas and make a PDF print book available for students, because currently the course that I'm going to share with you is only available and deployed through Canvas, and that's limiting for some students because they aren't able to easily print it out. Now in Canvas you can print the pages, but I'd like to develop a PDF book for them to print in its entirety if they want. Any questions so far? Good? All right.
Yeah,
So,
I was going to say,
oh,
Amanda, please share that. I'm teaching O1 this summer.
yep.
Whiz bang 6-week presentation. So I'd appreciate taking a look at what you've done already.
Yeah, definitely. I'm teaching, you know, the insanity of sometimes my choices doesn't catch up to me until later is I offered to teach 3 sections of 6 weeks, and each of them are capped at 75 students. So I'm not quite having a heart attack yet, but it's getting very close to that. So if I'm insane by the end of the summer, then you'll all know why. Is it still in the Google group? Are you able to see my Canvas shell right now? Did it switch over okay? Canvas shell?
Yes.
Okay. So what you see is the modules that I've arranged in Canvas. And I know for the California community colleges, we're all in different stages of transitioning over to Canvas. I'm not sure what out of state is using. So I'm just literally going to spend 30 seconds to describe this organization so those of you not familiar with Canvas will understand what you're seeing in front of you. So Canvas is organized in modules, and all modules are a way to organize content. You know, if you used Blackboard similar to folders, Moodle is very similar in some regards to Canvas. So what I chose to do, and again, I broke this up into, ours is a 18-week semester. So I broke it up into 16 weeks to account for finals and a gap week for our typically running semester. And I'll tell you what I do for my summer school classes. I just trifold it upon itself. So these 3 weeks would be the first week of summer school. The next 3 weeks is the next 3 weeks of summer school, and so on. So of course I have my Start Here module. And then week 2 that we jump into that first section of the COR. And when I developed this course, that's all that I did was just go down each section of the COR. So I'm going to click on this little triangle right here, and you can see that in Canvas, each of these are pages. And of course, good course design, you want to have your objectives first. And the objectives is just a preview of what they can expect throughout the entire course. And basically went down all of those items on the COR and put them into pages. One of the difficult things that I found is that for some students, just aesthetically, this can seem overwhelming. So I really try to reiterate to students in the first couple of weeks that this is replacing their textbooks, because for some, when they look at this, it's a very overwhelming feeling because they see this content here, and then since OER is such a new concept to many of the students, they still have in their head, I have to do this, and then I still have this textbook content over there. So especially in the first couple of weeks, I'm constantly reiterating to students, remember, this is our textbook. I know this looks overwhelming, but this is all of the content you need to know right in the Canvas module. And so I'm going to just jump into one of these, and you can see what I've done is taken numerous open education resources and added in there. And I put this together when I was basically just learning about OER. So some of my citations are missing. So now I have to go hunt down and figure out where I got this content because it wasn't something that was at the forefront of my brain. But you can see that it's simply cut and pasted from the sources. And then I have the attribution down here. Now this is of course a YouTube video, it's not an OER video, and so this is something that I need to make sure and cite separately, and I want to call myself out on that before you all that are familiar with it say, hello, that's not OER. And so those are some things that I need to make sure and do better citation. But you can see that I have the citation here and down here. One of the things that can be a struggle is when you're mixing and matching different content on one page, which is Canvas, is do I break up that content in the middle by putting the attribution, or do I put the attribution on the bottom? And if you see my Canvas shell, I kind of went back and forth in many of the pages trying to figure out what's going to be a better way for students to make sure that I'm giving credit where credit is due, but it's not going to break up the learning. So it's a little bit neurotic, and I'm more than willing to share any of this with you. And one of the things that I did in Canvas for this class is to put in quizzes throughout this right here is actually, it would be a ZTC content, a zero textbook cost content, because it's pulling from our library in our Films on Demand subscription. So this is not an OER video, but it is free to students because it's pulling from our Films on Demand subscription. So I'm going to jump back to the modules. And then again, you can see I've broken it up into the different theories of development. And added within here those films on demand within the page that fit with that, and then put the attribution down there. I used a lot of the OpenStax psychology book. I pulled heavily from this course from NOBA, which is a lot of psychology, all psychology content. And then of course utilize supplementary films on demand. Again, this whole process is all new to me as far as the sharing. So let me know how you would like. Do you want me to go through more of the content? Do you have any questions? Adilma, most of the videos, some of the videos are available in Spanish, but I wouldn't be able to say how many of them are in other languages as well. It really just depends on the Films on Demand, what they're offering them in.
Thank you, Amanda. I really appreciate it because I am starting to develop a shell for this class, Child Growth and Development. And I'm taking the classes at one certificate. I don't know if you are familiar with that certificate, teaching online. And one of the things that they are asking us is to be in compliance with the new regulations, having those videos available in multiple languages. And of course, online, we don't know who is going to join our courses. It's very open, but because of the area and the population that I teach is mostly Hispanic, I need to be ready for this content and have available content that is already translated and is accurate also, because we know that some of the YouTube translations are not accurate even in other languages. And that was one of my questions, that I'm having a hard time finding those resources that will be the equivalent. And I was just wondering, how can I have access to this and how can I sign up? And thank you. Thank you for listening to while I interrupted your session. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. That is the entire purpose of these conversations. It is definitely not for me to just lead. It is a conversation. So I know for the Films on Demand, so the videos that I showed, they are captioned. The languages, though, that's something that I'm very interested in. It hadn't occurred to me to check into that. So it's definitely something that I want to look into. Films on Demand is, it has pretty robust options. So I'm hoping that that'll at least be an option in some of the videos. But I do know at least all of the videos that I've come across are captioned. So that's been of comfort to me for the Films on Demand subscription. So for access to this template, I will send you a login code, and then you can export it however you want to export it. And again, my disclaimer is that there probably is some citations missing. And this was my first go around, and in the next couple of weeks I'm going to be improving on it. So so that's my disclaimer.
Hey, Amanda, I just want to say on this brief introduction here, it looks beautiful to me, and I definitely want to take a look at it.
Yeah.
Very good job of putting this together. One comment about the language, I'm not sure about this, but if you're an instructor at any of the California community colleges, there's a grant through 3C Media. They will do captioning for you. Now, I don't know that they do other than English captioning, but they will caption videos for you for free, and that's 3C Media. There's a grant for the California community colleges. It might be worth looking into.
And I just want to add that they will only caption your videos, so they won't caption somebody else's videos that's owned. But that's a really good question. I haven't asked anybody at the DEC, so it's the DEC grant, about captioning in other languages. That's a very interesting question. I'd be curious to get that.
I think it's possible, and I'm checking, I'm still, my chair at LA Mission College is checking if other videos will be, because I have some interesting materials that are wonderful in English and I would like to be translated. So we are in the process. As soon as I find out, I will let you know how was my experience and share that with all of you.
Great.
It would be a great grant for somebody. Wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Project.
Thank you. Thank you for mentioning that. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And I know Amara gives you the opportunity to caption over another video. And so that's another, if you have someone that is able to translate in another language, that's an option as well, too. So on this shell, there is definitely some weaknesses around the middle childhood. That's definitely one of the areas for me that's a weakness or doesn't have as much robust information. Again, I'll send out the link so anybody can access this. And please, when you come across things, add it in there, especially when you see those weaknesses to be added. That's the great thing about OER materials.
Amanda, I have another question. And I am able to use your shell with your permission and giving you the all the rights and that you were the creator. Is that what I am understanding?
Yeah, so you can use my shell. Nothing in here is my original creation. So everything that I've put in here are things that other OER materials that I've put in here. And like I said, I tried to put in the attributions. So if there's anything that's missing, know that it is nothing that I wrote myself, but it either came from OpenStax, Lumen, Noba, or one of those other sources. But yeah, so I will send out the, so in Canvas you have I can make it so you can enroll in the course and then you can export whatever you want to export. I do have in all of them, there should be, I say should because I might have gotten a little stressed out in the middle of it, but there should be quizzes that are associated with it as well. And you are definitely welcome. Those I did create. You're definitely welcome to export those. And if you add to them, then definitely let me know. And I'd love to use your stuff as well. I tried to make sure they align very good.
That was my second question because I'm not a web designer. I'm learning all the steps that is going behind the shell. And I'll be happy during the summer to really invest some time and create and share what I did.
Okay.
It's done. Okay.
Great. That's wonderful. And that is the essence of what we're trying to do with these conversations is say, this is what I've created, please use it and share back whatever you've added on to it.
Excellent. Thank you, Amanda. You are just a gift to me.
Oh, you're welcome. I wouldn't be, this is everybody else's work. The hard work is yet to come as we delve into the other courses. Child growth and development is one of the easier ones because it aligns so closely with psychology. So there's so much other content out there. As we move on in these conversations to go into things like observation assessment, well, there's nothing, at least not a lot that's freely licensed. And that's where I'm hoping to leverage these groups for people that have created stuff. I've created all my lectures for my observation assessment class, and that's what I use in that class. It is a zero textbook cost course, and it's based on all the lectures that I've created. So is there anybody on the call who has child growth and development content they would like to share? Because I can give you sharing rights.
So that definitely will be me.
This is Jessica from Maryland. So the course that I've previously created and is currently in revision is a human growth and development. So obviously there's some overlap, but there's also some extension because it covers the entire lifespan. I can just put the link to the book in the chat window.
That'd be great.
Again, this is in revision. This is about 3 years old from the original creation or collection of this. Like you, I was stumbling through the process, pulling a lot from the OpenStax psychology textbook and many, many other resources. We teach our human growth and development a very different way here. We teach it in a topical approach instead of a linear approach, which made it extremely difficult trying to compile information. But we are in the process of revising this completely. So I'll have an updated link to share back out with anybody who wants it by the fall. But we're also beginning the development of our Intro to Early Childhood Education course over the summer. So that's
Okay.
why when I saw your stuff come across the listserv, I said, you know, I'm going to jump on there because I know Delane's quite busy. So I just want to gather anything that might be there, and we're more than willing to share back out.
That's great. And that sounds like our principles and practice, if I'm trying to make the connection. So our principles and practices, which is our CAP aligned course, that's what we call it. So that's definitely one that I want to go over.
And
So,
Jessica, I was just going to ask you, you mentioned you're going to do a major revision. Are you going to convert it to a sequential course, or are you going to stay with your topical approach?
we have to stay, well, if it were up to me,
I get it.
I would go with the sequential because those resources exist in the open realm.
I
And,
get it.
but no, we're sticking with the topical approach.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure, but if you can tell, the platform we used was Pressbooks. We did this so it's not contingent on our LMS and can be easily shared across institutions. We're not a system in the state of Maryland, so we don't have one common platform. So I chose to go in something external. We can embed hot links to the different chapters, or just create an overall textbook, and we can create a PDF version too for any students that want to print.
Great. And that's one of the things, as I mentioned earlier, is that the printing option, that is a limitation of this module that you see here. So that's on my to-do list in the next couple of weeks, is figuring out the best way to extract this information and create a printable PDF. If there's any area of this you guys want me to dive into to take a closer look, just let me know. I will put, so
I'm curious about the infant and toddler, the cognitive development on week 7, or just
Yep. So this is what I've chosen to add in here. Again, I've tried to be conscientious, first of all, of what you see typically in textbooks, but also what is the core meat of what students need to know. Infant toddler is my area of specialization, so I always have to try and pull myself back, especially in these child growth and development classes, to not give them too much information because I think it's what they need to know, but rather what do they need to know to meet their student learning outcomes and be successful in laying the foundation of infant toddler development as, you know, as a child moves through. So those are the ones for cognitive development that I've chosen to put in here. Is there any that you want me to dive into?
my next question, do you have a shelf for infant toddler? Because I also teach infant toddler.
I do, actually. That one pulls very heavily from PITC materials, and PITC materials, while it's not openly licensed, it is free to use in educational settings, and that's been my greatest resource, is using that. And when I became SLO coordinator at my college, as well as the other roles, unfortunately I had to give up teaching that class, but my colleague teaches it, and she's freely, she says, share far and wide. So I can add that. The other thing that I wanted to highlight is, and I'm going to go back, is I've created a Canvas shell, and understanding that not all of us are on Canvas yet, but one of the dilemmas we had when thinking about sharing this materials is items that were created in Canvas, for those of us that have moved over, what would be the easiest way to share that content without losing the Canvas of formatting. So I did create a Canvas shell, and I apologize, this is a table, and it's a big no-no for accessibility. When I created it, I didn't have as much knowledge as I have now, so I'm going to be changing this to make it an accessible homepage. But what I did here is try to list all of those courses, and then have, so if we create Canvas-centric information, since there's Canvas quizzes, Canvas assignments, this might be a central repository for us to add that information. And this I can also send, actually I'll put the link right here. So enroll as a student, and then I will make you a teacher is the best way that I figured out how to do that. So I'm going to put that in the chat window. And that'll give you access to this. And what I've tried to do in there, so for the child growth and development class, they'll have a link to allow you to self-enroll in that course. So if we go, whoops. I just lost it. So the Child Growth and Development class, this will take you to the OER template course. So if you click on that, it'll allow you to enroll in that. Again, we're trying to figure out the best, least confusing way to share all of this content. So I am very open to suggestions as far as what would be a good way to better share this information, especially across different platforms. Oops. So any other thoughts or questions?
No, thank you.
Yeah, just a comment. I am using Canvas, so this looks beautiful. It looks great.
And again, especially in this Canvas shell right here, please feel free to add anything. I'll make you a teacher and you can change and add anything that you want in here. Again, between this and the Google group, we're trying to figure out a way not to duplicate efforts, but also not to silo information. So that's currently the dilemma that Jennifer and Paris from College of the Canyons and I are trying to work through is how do we keep driving everybody towards one central sharing repository, but also things like Canvas assignments and quizzes that are created with this format, how do we share those as well? So then the next question is, so we did child growth and development today. So our next conversation, I have not chosen, and it's certainly not up to me, what of the CAP aligned courses that we should dive into next. So I am open for suggestions, or if somebody selfishly says, I have to teach this in the fall and it's an OER, what course we should highlight in our next meeting.
I'm trying to develop some stuff for health, safety, and nutrition. So
Okay.
that would be my preference, but you know, that's totally selfish on my part. So if anybody else has suggestions, let's share.
And for health, safety, and nutrition, I taught that last summer as a zero textbook cost course. It's embarrassing because it's all based on zero textbook resources. So a lot of linking out to government websites, which is free to use. But I would love to be able to work through that and share and see, okay, how can we take this information and make it into a true OER course, so that I unless other people desperately want something else, then I'll put health, safety, and nutrition as our top choice right now.
I'm sorry, I missed that whole conversation because a student called me.
Oh, no problem. So we're just thinking about, as we continue with these conversations and going through all of the ACAP aligned course, what would be the next course we want to attack? And I said, you know, be selfish, whatever one you say, I got to teach in the fall and I need content. Marvin volunteered health, safety, and nutrition, but, you know, we can override him too.
I agree. It's needed.
Okay.
That would not be nice to override. I'm definitely thinking about developing the principles and practices.
Okay.
First class, usually introduction into the discipline.
Okay. And again, my hope is to do this the second and fourth Wednesday. That's right, today's Wednesday of the month. And so maybe we can do it in that order if everybody is good, as health, safety, and nutrition, and then principles and practices on the fourth one.
Yes.
Of next month.
Looking at my calendar.
Okay. Yes, all right.
I'll pencil it out.
And I'll send the reminders out to the listserv when I get this recording in to let everybody know these are the next practices. And as I keep mentioning, I'm by no means need to be the ringleader. So anybody else wants to jump in and lead these conversations, and whatever you've developed to share, then we can easily share screens and you can highlight what you've done. This is a lot for the summit that we're going to be doing, we are going to dive in and start doing some writing, and they are going to be along those 8 CAP aligned courses. So I'm really excited. I've talked a lot with the Canyons people, and we've thought about some really neat ways to now just move to the next step of collaborating, and at the summit actually start writing content. So that's very, very exciting. So if you're able to attend in person, then that would be very exciting, but virtually at least, we'd love to have you at the summit on June 6th. All right. So I think that's done for this conversation, unless you guys have anything you want to add or last minute. Who's out right now, or who's on their finals week?
Oh my gosh, I'm on my finals week.
Finals. Yep.
We were done on Friday, so I consider this the calm before the storm of summer school. Summer school starts June 17th, so.
Yes.
I'm
trying.
Classes, my goodness.
What was that?
Especially with you teaching 3, my goodness.
Yeah,
That's a lot. That's a lot.
I'm in denial right now about what that means. So I'm going to pretend it's not going to be as bad as it is. So.
I have no idea how I might help you, but hey, send out a shout if there's any way I can support you with that.